Hi guys, today I'm gonna show you my bike, how I set it up, and give my review after using it for about 10 months. Right now I am at the riverside in Kawasaki, and just over there is Tama River, and right here is a beautiful park, as you can see, and just over there is my bike. This is a Brompton folding bike, as you may already know. Specifically, it is the Brompton C Line Explore 2022 edition with low handlebars in house red and black color. C Line meaning it is the standard classic version with steel frame, and Explore meaning it has 6 gears, 3 internal and 2 external. I bought this bike in September 2023, so I've been using it for almost 10 months now. And this is actually my second folding bike. My first one was a Renault Platinum Light 8, which was a nice bike. I used that for a while and it got me invested into the folding bike hobby, so I decided to get this Brompton as an upgrade. You might ask, why a small folding bike instead of something like a road bike? That's because I often travel via bike and trains, also known as Rinko. Rinko means traveling with one's bicycle using public transportation. What I do is I'll take this bike on the train, go to somewhere I've never cycled in before, and just explore the places there. I would do a tour of the places that I find interesting on Google Maps. I would also finish my ride at a train station where, again, I will take my bike on the train and go home. Thus, the ability to fold it up into a compact size makes it a lot easier to carry it in trains and stations. I don't mind losing out on the aerodynamics or the efficiency of a road bike because I'm not really that focused on speed or performance. I'm just using this bike to explore places. Also, I just think the small wheels look cool. The reason I got a Brompton instead of other folding bikes is because they have superior compactness, ease of fold, and ride quality. Bromptons are also unique novelty machines with passionate riders worldwide. It's just nice to be a part of that community that owns this quirky looking bike. Even though folding bikes like this are best for urban cycling, I've been using it for fairly long distance rides around Japan with not much issues at all. As you can probably notice, there are certain parts of the bike that I have changed, so let me show you the parts. For the grips, I'm using the Ergon GP1. It has a nice grippy texture to it and a surface for your palm to rest on. This prevents wrist fatigue on long rides, one of the first things that I installed on this bike. The brakes and brake levers are just stock. I have no problem with braking so far. The tires are the Schwalbe Marathon Racer 1.35 inches, which came stock with the bike. It has a good grip and a puncture protective layer inside. Occasionally I will ride on wet roads and rough terrains, but it still performs decently. Never had any punctures yet, so it's quite reliable. When I bought this bike, it came with a white Brompton saddle, which was too wide for me, so I changed it to this saddle, which came with my previous folding bike. It's not bad, I don't have a problem with it, but I think it's a good idea to invest in a better saddle, so I might change this soon. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. Meanwhile, the seat post is just the stock seat post. Even though you can fold the rear wheel and make the Brompton stand or sit, it's not as reliable as having an actual kickstand. So I installed this Minora SLMV1 kickstand. The design was a bit flawed, so I had to make some modifications to it. Also, this nut would get loose after a few months, so I would need to tighten it, but other than that, it works fine. For the pedals, I'm using the MKS UXD one side easy. The right pedal is fixed, but the left pedal is detachable, like this. I also bought this magnetic pedal holder separately from AliExpress. You can fix it right here magnetically. After I fold the bike, I would detach the pedal and just stow it here to make it more compact. The chainring is probably the biggest upgrade I've done to this bike. This Brompton came with the standard 50 teeth chainring, but I found that the highest gear was a bit too high for me, so I switched to this 45 teeth Light Pro chainring. Now the highest gear feels just sufficient and I get a better first gear for climbing. I also changed the crank to this Light Pro crank. At first I didn't intend to change the stock crank, but the stock crank was not compatible with this chainring, so I had to change to this crank. The derailleur, hub and shifters are unchanged. One shifter on the right for the 3 internal hub gears, 1, 2 and 3, and another one on the left for the 2 external gears, minus and plus. Shifting the gears is a bit tricky at first and takes some time getting used to, but so far they work fine. Next, I'm gonna show you the accessories that I use to complement my riding experience. I use this Cat Eye Volt 200 front light mounted on this Cat Eye center fork bracket, which I had to install. Charges via micro USB at the back. Just a basic light for being seen at night. You can set it to bright, brighter, or blinking. And because it's mounted on the center fork, it turns with the wheel. For the tail light, I use this Cat Eye Omni 3 Auto mounted just under the saddle. It uses 2 AAA batteries, and as the name suggests, it turns on automatically when it's dark and senses movement. You can set it to normal blinking, normal, or rapid blinking. One more Cat Eye product. This is the Cat Eye BM45 side mirror mounted on the bar end. I can adjust the angle as I want. It's just a small mirror, but still very useful for being aware of the traffic behind you. This is the rack mount handlebar mount. I use this to mount my DJI Osmo Action 4 as well as my Insta360 X3 on the selfie stick. I think I'll make a separate video on my camera gears and how I film my travels, but yeah, this mount is very small and compact. Previously I was using this HSU handlebar mount. It worked fine for a couple of months, but then this hinge broke. With the rack mounts, there's no hinge. Both sides are secured with screws, so I don't think it'll break. I've been using this very affordable SOS G Plus cycling computer since I first started cycling. You can pair it with a cadence sensor like this one mounted on the cranks. It worked fine at first, but for some reason lately it has become very inaccurate, so I just don't use it anymore. I use this just to get the GPS data like the speed, route and elevation. I can pair it with my phone using the app and it will automatically sync the rides to my Strava account. This is the rack mount plus handlebar phone mount. I use it to mount my iPhone, which I use for navigation. Although I need to use this special phone case with my phone, also by rack mounts. To put it on, I just align my phone, push it in and twist. To take it off, I need to push this tab right here and twist my phone again and pull it away. Previously I used this typical bicycle phone holder, but this one was a bit bulky and it made noises when I'm riding. With this rack mounts plus phone mount, it's much more compact. Most importantly, it's rigid, like it doesn't move, so it won't make noises when I'm riding. And this is my power bank mount. It's kind of a workaround kind of thing. I installed this rack mount on the stem after applying some protective tape underneath, and then I installed this rack mount plus mount like the phone mount, and last but not least I installed the rack mount to my power bank. I know that's a lot of rack mounts, but now I can mount my power bank to my bike just like I mount my phone. Therefore, I can charge my phone while I'm riding and the phone will never die on me again. And in case you're wondering, all these things that I put on my handlebar does not interfere with the fold. I also applied some random grippy tape on this part of the frame just to give more grip when I'm carrying the bike. This is how I usually carry my bike. I just turn the saddle a little bit and I grip this part of the frame. One of my favorite things about Bromptons is that they have this carrier block at the front where you can attach compatible bags. This is the bag that I use. It is the Demano Verde design for Brompton. Before this, I was using the Two Tops Brompton bag, basically a cheap copy of the original Brompton bag. That one was a sling bag. You would wear it across your body. Personally, I don't really like sling bags because they're not that comfortable and they kind of rock around when you're walking. So I decided to find a Brompton bag with shoulder straps like a normal backpack. There weren't many options, but this was the one that best suit my needs. What I like about this bag is that it has side pouches on both sides where I can put my water bottles for quick access, and it also has this easy to access small compartment at the top, which is very convenient to reach for my extra batteries. This is how it looks when I wear it. To put it on the bike, first you secure the shoulder straps like this, and then you just engage with the carrier block and push it until it clicks. Now, because this bag is mounted vertically, it slightly interferes with the cables here, but I can still turn the handlebar fully so it does not deter the handling at all. And to take it off, you just need to pull this trigger under here and pull your bag upwards. because this is a folding bike, I'm gonna show you how it folds. I need to turn the pedals to this position. Just need to pull the triggers at the back here to release the rear wheel and just flip it. Next, I need to undo this hinge. I have to fold this front wheel to the back here. Also, I need to engage this locking mechanism to the rear triangle. I can lower the seat post like so. I can just undo this stem hinge and it will fall by itself. This part will also engage, so it will be fixed. And last but not least, because I have a detachable pedal, I'm gonna detach it and stow it. And now it's ready to be taken on the train. Unless if you're in Japan, then you have to do one more step. You're actually not allowed to bring your bike into the trains and the stations exposed like this. You have to fully cover your bike with a wrinkle bag like this one. This is a wrinkle bag by Monbel. It is super light and compact. I'm just gonna open this up. I'm gonna cover my bike. Now I can finally take it on trains in Japan. I know it's a bit of a hassle to do this extra step. It is also unfortunate that I can't use the Brompton's rolling functionality in train stations here. Although there are certain cyclist dedicated trains where you can just bring your bike as it is, but for most trains, I have to back my bike. Next, I'm going to show you the reverse process. Attach the pedals, pull up the stem, screw the hinge, pull up the seat post, clamp it in, pull it up a little bit like this, and screw this hinge, and finally just lift, flip it. First, let's talk about the cons of this bike. The first downside is pretty obvious if you ever searched for Brompton, and that is the high price. I can't really argue with the price. I think it can be justified if you use it for years and utilize the foldability. So maybe this is not really a downside, but the reality is it is expensive. So as much as I like Bromptons, it is hard to recommend it to a friend. The second downside of this bike is not quite obvious, but this bike is a bit heavy at more than 12 kilograms, mainly because of the steel frame and the internal hub gear. It's not a problem when riding the bike, but when carrying the bike around in train stations, I do wish that it is a little bit lighter. I don't have strong arms, so I can barely last a few minutes of carrying it around before needing to take a breath. This is the standard C Line. You can get a lighter Brompton in the Performance B Line or the Titanium T Line, but of course the price will double and triple up. Now let's talk about what's great about this bike. Firstly, just like any other Brompton, this bike is very easy to fold and unfold, as I've shown earlier. When you're used to it, it doesn't take more than 20 seconds to do it. When folded, it becomes so compact, as small as you can get for a 16-inch folding bike. It also conveniently protects the drivetrain from being exposed, which means you won't get yourself dirty from chain grease when carrying it. The ease of fold and compactness is quite a big deal for me because I take it on trains all the time. I feel less guilty when bringing this bike into a slightly crowded train because the size is just comparable to a large luggage. So yeah, it makes the experience much better. Fun fact, you can fit a Brompton into a large size locker available in many train stations in Japan. You can also kind of fit a Brompton in front of your seat in bullet trains, although I don't recommend it. The next thing I like is that this bike has a good ride quality and a wide gear range for a 16-inch folding bike. The frame is made of steel, which has better shock absorption than aluminum. The wheelbase of a Brompton is longer when compared to typical 16-inch folding bikes, and that contributes to more stable riding. It also has this rear suspension block and a long steel stem, both acting as a shock absorber when riding rough terrains. Combining all of that, this bike gives me a decently comfortable riding experience for a bike of this size. Definitely much better than my previous folding bike. The C Line Explorer is equipped with 6-speed configuration, and with my reduced 45-tooth chainring, this bike ranges from 30 to 90 gear inches. Most other bikes of the same wheel size won't have such large gear ratio, but it is made possible in a Brompton because of the wide ratio internal hub gear. With the lowest gear, I can challenge myself on climbing decent hills without suffering as much, and with the highest gear, I can occasionally overtake road bikers on flats. Overall, I am very satisfied with this bike. Traveling with it on trains has been a nice experience. It really gave me the freedom to travel to many places in Japan. Considering all the different rides and places I've taken this bike to, I'd say the purchase was definitely worth it. Of course, I plan to take this bike to many more rides and places around Japan in my folding bike travel series, so if you're interested in that, do subscribe to the channel. I usually do short one-day tours on weekends, but occasionally I will do longer multiple-day tours. There are just a lot of beautiful places to visit all across Japan, and this country also happens to have a very reliable and extensive railway system, so I'm just gonna utilize that and explore as much as I can with this bike. If you want to see the places that I've been to so far, I made a Notion page where I record all the places, kind of like a journal. So I'll leave the link below in the description if you want to check that out. If you found this video helpful, do leave a like, and if you have any questions, comment down below. What do you guys think about my Brompton? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next ride.